I'll welcome our respected moderator on stage. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Rumit, Parikh, Director, Occupier Strategy and Solutions, Industrial and Logistics, and Retail Night Frank. और जोर से प्लीज अभी ये लंच के बाद वाला पहला सेशन है, थोड़ा ज्यादा एनर्जी चाहिए हम लोग को. Because everybody complains कि लंच के बाद क्वेश्चन को एनर्जी कम हो जाता है. Ahmedabad, show your power, show your energy in the house. और जोर से ताली बजाइए, please. Thank you. सबको पता ही है सर के बारे में, बट मेरा फर्ज बनता है कि मैं भी थोड़ा बोलूं. Of course, Rumit ji has been playing an instrumental role in the real estate sector for the last 17 years. He has been instrumental in building up the client base through networking and business development, and with great relationships across key developers and landlords, coupled with market intelligence, he ensures that clients have the best value add and support in the market. Moreover, this ability to understand the implications of a transaction for both parties enables him to develop effective negotiating strategies on behalf of the clients. No wonder the best possible moderator for this session. Once again, give it up for sir, please, as I request you to take your seat. Thank you. I'll be introducing our honorable speakers in alphabetical order right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Anshul, Shah, Director, Ducon Consultants, who brings new age philosophies to Ducon's quest for excellence. A tech enthusiast, he is a civil engineer specializing in structural engineering with a focus on analytical and design aspects of a structure. He is adept in design calculations, deriving cost estimates, building code compliant structural analysis, and strong research skills, and possesses EIT and LEED Green Associate certification. Give it up for Mr. Anshul, please, ladies and gentlemen. सिर्फ काम ही इतना कि आप लोग ने आगे उस स्टेज पे लेकिन इंट्रोडक्शन खत्म नहीं हुआ. That is what it is. Quickly moving on to our next speaker, we have Bakir Gandhi, who is the chairman, managing director, Crystal Group. He is widely recognized for his path-breaking, visionary, and innovative contribution under the leadership of Gandhi. Crystal Group today has emerged as a national conglomerate, venturing successfully in various verticals of real estate like industrial and logistics parks, shopping malls, integrated residential townships, and commercial establishments all across the country. They are currently developing industrial and logistic parks across major cities like Mumbai, Bengaluru, Chennai, Ahmedabad, and Pune, having tied up with FDI funds like Indospace, ESR, and clients like Amazon, Tata Goshen, Reliance, and many more. Give it up for him, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We have Kartik, Jalan, who's the founder and CEO of Indicold Private Limited, who is a visionary leader in the true sense of the term in the cold chain industry and is known for his innovative strategies and unwavering commitment to sustainability. In 2019, he founded Indicold, which has rapidly gained recognition for its marquee clients and innovative and reliable solutions. Under his guidance, Indicold has established new industry standards by integrating cutting-edge technology with sustainable practices. Come on, Ahmedabad, you can do a lot more. Also, Sitali, please. You all are known for your sweetness and the radiation that you bring to the table, right? Thank you. We also have Nirav, Kothary, who is the director of Godwitt Constructions. He's an industrial real estate veteran with 20 plus years of experience who looks after the execution of projects and has since Godwitt's inception developed more than 1 million square feet of industrial space. He has previously worked with JLL in the strategic consulting department and went on to head the industrial warehousing department, later heading the Ahmedabad offices and taking it to new levels. Ladies and gentlemen, too much of experience in this panel. I request you all to take it forward to share all the wonderful insights that you have to bring with us over here on the table. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So it's been one of the fabulous event, always Reality Plus host, and to have all veterans and the probably the knowledge sharing which happens in terms of the networking which we do here is something which is best in class. We are here specifically for the topic as it is Gujarat's growth story on industrial park. So some characteristics on Gujarat industrial growth story. The industrial region of Gujarat have established themselves as a prominent center for international trade and export due to their advantageous geographical positioning. well-developed infrastructure, and favorable business-oriented regulations. Gujarat warehousing market began to mature from year 2014. Before that, we used to call it as godowns, and Aslali and Kedia was the only major market. Post that, we have all seen growth of godowns to warehouse, and to now it is known as multiple grade A logistic parks, spread up over Ahmedabad as well as other tier 2 and 3 cities like Baroda, Surat, Vapi, and few others. Talking about Gujarat industrial growth, the state has 49 ports, 1 major port and 48 non-major ports, which handle 40% of the cargo of the entire country. It also has 19 operational airports and including 4 international airports. And the share of Gujarat in the total export stands the number 1 position with a staggering number of 33.55% of total export of the country. With over 200 industrial estates and nearly 100 private industrial parks, Gujarat has been acknowledged as an achiever in logistics, eased by DP IIT, marking it as an excellence logistics powerhouse. Apart from all these infrastructure development projects such as Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, Dholera Expressway, and development of 11 jetties and 7 rail connectivity project will boost industrial growth and Gujarat further. From here, I open this forum to our esteemed speaker, and first question to Nirav. What lies ahead for industrial park in the future?
First of all, I would like to thank you for having me here. Very, very relevant question. What is the future or what future holds for us? Since a long time, we've seen that Gujarat is an established destination for engineering and pharma companies. Since Tata Motors came in, auto is the next big thing which is happening here. So a lot of focus is on the auto sector. Apart from that, these days the buzz of the town is semiconductor industries which are coming into Ahmedabad. And last but not the least, we still have to get a few things sorted in our supply chain network. The one thing that one definitely needs to work upon is cold chain. So that's something that needs to be worked upon. The government has started pushing, the incentives, etc., for cold chain. But like we've all read everything in the newspapers that 40 to 50%, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kartik, 40 to 50% of our vegetables and fruits go waste because there is no cold chain. So right from farm to our tables, there needs to be a continuous cold chain. So that is something which needs to be built up. So that's something that we need to do in the years to come, apart from auto, semiconductor, and our traditional bread butter of pharma and engineering.
Sure, Nirav. I think the next question is to Bakir, you being the veteran of the industry. What are the top 3 challenges a developer face while setting up a grade A industrial park?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. So let's first define what is a grade A. I mean, many of them, grade A, generally we feel that a grade A is a building where you build a very good building with certain heights and infrastructure and fire and lights. So exactly, it's not like that. So grade A building is along with the support of other infra support along with that, like margins and apron area, parking and other ecosystem along with that. I mean, it's not only that particular building or the surroundings of the building, but also the parks and the locations and everything. So this is a more wider definitions of grade A. I think so. The challenge is rather, in one line I would say, the rentals, and second is the local competition, because normally what happens is that still we have a traditional market of the locals or a landowner who are holding a land and they feel that I'll make a building and give it, and the tenants are preferring that. But now as the science have involved in this and companies are getting their operations movement faster, how they can benefit from this operations, they are looking towards all the parts along that. And major challenge is the land locations, land price. I think so. Other is the approvals, particularly in Gujarat, particularly in Ahmedabad, we cannot say. But yeah, in some of the part, other part of Gujarat, we can say there may be a challenge of acquiring the consolidated land, then the approaches and the supporting infra, the water or roads, or I think so. That's what the developer needs to build by their own, which is an extra cost, and that is not loaded on finally the rentals. People feel that the area has 18 rupees or 16 rupees, but they don't see that the overall infra has been developed by the developer park. And I think so. Second is the retaining of that park particularly, because to develop a grade A infra and that park, again to retain that park and to maintain that park, I think so. That is also a big challenge, and that need a big money to hold it out, or you need an institute to hold that out. And the third thing is that what I feel is to find a perfect tenant mix. It's like a retail space also, because if you have some of the companies who may have a nuisance along with the neighbors, I mean, it will have a problem, because if it is in a red zone or orange zone along with the storage space, then you have a problem. I think so. Otherwise, compliances and the approvals are much easier in Gujarat, as rest of the things are, I think so, it's much easier. And second is to get a land at the right price also.
Yeah.
So I think
just to add to it, the biggest challenge, like he briefly mentioned, is there is this price of land, there is a cost of construction, and there is a reasonable return that a developer would expect. So if you stack up the cost of land, cost of construction, and the return, there is a rental number which is achieved. And today, for all practical purposes, that number is about 20. And when the occupier lands in our city, his first thing is 12 rupees mein dikho. Gone are those days when a building can be leased. Today, I don't know if it can be made and leased for 12 rupees.
it still comes to us like that.
So that's the biggest challenge. The occupiers don't understand the pain that goes in by acquiring land, building a building. They want grade A specifications, and they say 12 rupees.
So they still have to define it, whether it is a godown or it is going to be a logistic park.
And on top of that, they also say that we also want ESG compliances.
I agree.
For 12 rupees.
Sure. So I think grade A will go down price. So moving on to that, I think Bakir explained all the challenges what a developer can face. I would like to question Anshul. Anshul, do you see increase and continuous fluctuation in raw material prices will impact the growth of industrial park in Gujarat?
It does impact in a very indirect way. Of course, if there are price fluctuations, you tend to see reduction, optimization in terms of industrial output. Ultimately, whatever that we design, we build, the infrastructure, the land is for the end user. The end user needs to be there. He needs to have their optimum business growth. I can't even count on my fingers. I'll have n number of not designed textile parks projects in my office where the master plans are ready. When there's a boom, and textile and chemical are these two, if I understand it, these are the two sectors which do get hampered with the continuous, changes in terms of pricing, raw material flow, in exports, imports, China, etc. And when there's a boom, yes, textile and chemical people are also the industries who are ready to spend the most. if you give them, if you are preparing or if you are building an industrial park, if you have a textile zone, you tell them, okay, I'm providing you A to Z services. They will be, I guess, and this is what I'm sure they can back me up on this, but they will be more than happy to pay you 8,000 rupees instead of 6,000 rupees if they're all their headaches are getting sorted out. But then again, there have been so many parks, so many processes, so many non-documented plans out there with designers where we try and establish that textile park, those facilities, but then again certain changes in the environment affect the end users' readiness to buy that plot. And so as designers, what we try and intend to do is have maximum flexibility. That in whatever terms, the external factors is probably beyond our control certain times, but we try and create that flexibility in terms of design and the parks that the developer intends to build, so that tomorrow these kind of factors affect the least to the end user as well as to them.
Sure. So I think we heard on the raw materials as well and what are the nuances of it. Wanted to hear from Occupier. So Kartik bhai, we have seen lots of cold storage units in Mehsana, Palanpur, Disa region, which is the north of the Gujarat. You see in near future park exclusively built for a cold storage units?
First of all, thanks for having me here. Thanks to Reality Plus for the invite. Thanks to Reality and all of you guys. So this is a new world for me. The real estate developer mindset, and I'm happy to understand it more. Having said that, I think one of the things that Nirav had said initially was, and I think it's a myth that I should break because it makes people take wrong decisions. There is no shortage of cold chain infrastructure in India. What is the shortage is of good cold chain infrastructure. By what I mean good, also I'll explain. So there is 41 million metric ton, which is the requirement, and 41 million metric ton is available, but it is mezzanine. So the movement of logistics is happening towards palletized infrastructure, and that is the need of the hour. Palletized infrastructure in India is very less. It's in lakhs. So that is something that really needs to go up. So that infrastructure will come up. So because of manpower and other issues, you will see a lot of that coming in. Returning to the question that you asked. So the question is regarding whether I see a possibility of a park getting established or exclusively built for a coast chain. I don't think so. Because it doesn't make sense. Even if the buildings are right next to each other of different occupiers, they would prefer not to have it in the same park. And I have worked in a situation we are operating in Sonapat Harana out of a location where we have another occupier in the same park, and it's a big hassle for us. If it's not in the same park, it's great because they will make a mistake and you will suffer for it. Their audit goes bad, your audit will go bad on the customer end. So there are certain practical issues which will happen, which then make it difficult to work out of the same location. If it is different, boundary, then it's easy. Then because you can always say to the auditor, boss, it failed there, but it will not fail at my end. And there are X number of things that companies these days look into when they choose a location. Other than all the objective things which infra will give, they look at a lot of subjective things which are related to how the people are trained, how empathetic the staff is, how we are responding to their queries or stuff. So from our point of view, when we look at it, all of those things make it a little impossible for us to control an environment which we can.
So according to you, the boundaries are different, then it makes sense.
Yes.
Sure. So any developer who is going to make it has to have the boundaries fixed that this is yours and this is theirs.
So I leave the developer. So before we guys came here, we were having a nice time discussing about 150 meter high buildings to whatnot. I think there was a builder that we discussed who was building a very awesome facility in a tier 3 town or a tier 2 town, and it's his decision at the end of the day to take that risk. People are welcome to take that risk. I am not going to comment on whether it is good or bad.
Sure.
So we have made a turnaround. Nirav will take one time, I will take it.
Absolutely correct. So, Nirav, what are your views on demand and feasibility of 2 and tier 3 cities like Vapi, Dahej, Vadodara for setting up industrial park?
So we as a company and as a group, we operate in quite a large number of tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and we are there from very remote locations like Becharaji to much more developed Baroda and Surat. So the focus today is not just Ahmedabad. There are companies who end up saying very specifically saying we want to go to Baroda because we have the talent pool there, or from a logistics perspective it makes sense and things like that. So there are a whole bunch of companies who come with different requirements, and that is how you see industrial parks and logistics park coming up in Baroda, Ankleshwar, Surat, Dahej, of course the ports of Pipavav and Mundra, and all the large cities in Gujarat, which is Rajkot and Surat and Ahmedabad and all of those. So there is a whole mix of requirements which come. The other point is, as compared to other states, where there is only one city which is the center of growth, Gujarat has always been working on a distributed growth across the state, and that is how you have requirements coming all across and not just one city. So if you go to MP, there is only Indore which has all the requirements and nothing else. But it's not the case here. If you go to Maharashtra, it's Pune only. For a very small extent, there is Nagpur. That's about it. But nothing else. So Gujarat as a state has widespread development, and because of which there is the necessity of developing industrial infrastructure across the state.
So I think as per you, there will be more developments in probably more tier 3 and 4 also in Gujarat specifically.
Yes, as the government pushes infrastructure development to tier 3 and tier 4 towns, there will be the push to go to tier 3 and tier 4 as tier 2 will also become expensive going forward. That is one. Second is, post-COVID, the e-commerce story has slowed down, but in a couple of years it will pick up. And the affordability and the aspirations of people in tier 3 and tier 4 has also gone up. People want all those fancy things that they see to be delivered in a day. And that's all impulse shopping. So we will need all that infrastructure in tier 3, tier 4 towns of not just our state, but the entire country as well.
Anshul, how do you see evaluation of warehouse from a go down to grade A warehouse, and what are the next big things which we can expect in terms of warehouse upgradation? Where do we stand in terms of comparison with other Western countries?
We've actually seen the transition from go down to factory to campus to logistics park, grade A asset. Now, I mean, if I may say so. Since you're there, I'll just take a minute. When I joined, came back from US and joined the company as a designer, my father gave me certain drawings to study, and he gave me a shape and a go down drawing to study, which is of 96, 97, that carbon copy wala drawing. This most basic facility it had, like 2 openings, that is a portal frame. God knows if I were to design as per today's structural codes, it would even pass or not. They are standing right in Aslali, in Kedia and whatnot areas. And then from there on, since now I've been working in the industry, and the feedback that I get, I often ask people who come to me, do you want to build a shed, a factory, or a campus? And they are such a bit the same. I then start explaining them the difference. If you ever to work with whoever's worked with ITC, I've designed 5 factories, they would always say, Anshul, it's ITC's Bangalore campus, industrial food manufacturing unit campus. ITC would never say a factory karna, they wouldn't come. So the definitions have changed, the requirements have changed. People want volleyball courts and box cricket and whatnot in an industrial campus also. Coming back to the grade A asset or the warehouse, and Bakir very rightly pointed that what is this grade A warehouse, which is often the term that we use. Is it just very well done construction as per today's codes? Not really. There's a lot more to it. As you said, apron size, increased height, tech-enabled solutions. How are you building that asset that the end user can easily come in, put in the best of the material handling systems? How can you make sure the durability and strength of flooring is as per what is required and goes probably even beyond FM2? FM global standards, people have started adopting fire as a huge, in a very different way, where not only basic NBC fire standards, but they're going after FM global and even fire tunnels in a warehouse. I'm sure a lot of us know, and when we're designing warehouses which has fire tunnels across, for Reliance and Tata, that are mandatory. So yes, these definitions have changed massively, and hopefully those are the specifications what it makes a grade A asset.
Sure.
To answer the second part, what could be the next big thing as an evolution? As a designer, what we are seeing is we are not seeing execution of a lot of these, but we are designing a lot. Hopefully, these do get executed are multi-story warehouses. Right. That is something. And it's not something that it's not there right now. It is there, but of course, it's not there in a very adaptive way. Land utilization ratio is going to be a very key factor for the developers. We are trying to build feasibility case studies for a lot of multi-story warehouses. Where in foreign countries, especially in South Asian countries, Hong Kong, Indonesia, even right now in Philippines, these have become very, very prominent. So multi-story warehouses is going to be probably the next big thing, where Reliance has already done a couple. Tata is doing 4 of such huge multi-story warehouses, including one in Bangalore, Yamunanagar, Delhi, for Air India. But of course, it will depend on a lot of factors. But I think that is going to be the next thing.
Sure. Kartik bhai, as an occupier, Kartik bhai, to you, as an occupier, what key amenities and features you see in a grade A industrial park which can benefit you for your ease of operations?
Most important would be parking.
Sure.
Truck parking. I think that is one thing that we often miss on. The other would be if we can segregate driveway area versus operational area, because that is one other operational issue that we encounter. Other than that, generally what we are doing is we are getting into buildings which are BTS for us. So at the ghetto, we kind of try to resolve majority of the issues before we move in. Since it's a BTS and since it's switch on ready for us.
So you have a liberty while as a BTS.
Yeah, and I think the next big thing which Anshul was pointing out, and just adding to it, I feel that the next big thing in warehousing and industrial warehousing is automation. And it is going to change the way real estate developers look at warehousing. I feel that people have not realized what is happening in automation globally and why it makes financial sense to do it. I think that is going to be transformational. That piece will happen, but it will take some time. So I think we will make probably together we will make people realize what is going on. So I came up with that idea, and then Nirav stood up and said, "Yes, we will implement it." And I think that is one good project that has come. So it's India's first. So I would say, we are the first 3PL in the country to be doing it either in cold or in dry. And ASR is for a client.
Sure.
So it's an automated warehouse, 30-meter high building, passive active fire prevention system. So absolutely state of the art. Sure. So I think that is the future which is going to, you will see more of. And
yeah, sure. So coming back from Nirav, what he was explaining towards the e-commerce, Bakir, I want to ask you, what is the future of e-commerce as giants like Flipkart and Amazon? They haven't taken much space post-COVID. While you can see a huge spike in manufacturing sector.
So I'll give you it is yeah, it's right that Amazon and Flipkart has just stopped taking the new areas in the last couple of years. And normally they have BTS options coming RFQ every year. But it is not that the demand has gone down or something like that. Because during COVID period, at 2 and 3 cities, there was a consumption of over 63%. And so that was on a peak and people were not equipped with that godowns and storage and all that. And there was no A-grade premises available. So there was a peak. But post that, I think so this operation is transferred to 3PL. As we rightly were discussing earlier, how the office space is going to the management kind of thing. The same is going to the 3PL. Most of the companies are transferring their operations to 3PL to make it fast. Second is, what I feel is, as Anshul rightly point out, that it will be a multi-storage, but it will be in-city warehouse. Because nowadays, the vegetables and all that, we see a lot of basket apps and all that, we need the things in 1 hour or all that, so it has to be in city. Sure. And it will be a multi-storage within city, and 3PL has also raised their bars. They have raised their bars, they have improvised their warehousing, they are taking the A grade, they are taking the BTS things, and they are coming up with a very good services. So I think so that is the shifting of that part. It is not that the e-commerce is
sure.
Second is the demand is from the even our local companies. I mean, not in India, the state level companies also have started online things, and they are also coming up in a particular in their pockets with the online tying up with the 3PL or the other service providers. And so this is just shifted. And yeah, big, what they call a facility center or a SC center, like the DMart is expanding, or the in-stores which are demand,
sure,
are expanding, and it is just shifted. That is the one thing. And rest of the, I think so, it's not that industrial part, what we call it. Anyway, we are on a very much growth because Gujarat, we have seen a lot of companies coming in, in auto, EV, semiconductors. So it has just changed out, and they are more serious player. It's the vendors, it's the tier 1, tier 2, 3 vendors who are the suppliers and all that. They are more serious. Their commitments are for the longer period. Their investment in the buildings are higher than the building values. So I think so. It's more mature in that way.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. I would like to add a little bit here. Post-COVID, what has happened is there was this China plus one theory which was going around everywhere. And everybody just thought that India is going to be the plus one, naturally. However, the initial plus one went to countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh, Indonesia. Eventually, everybody realized that they don't have that domestic market to cater to that consumption. So they can do manufacturing, but there is no consumption there. It's only for exports.
Yeah.
And then eventually, a couple of years later, people realized that India is the plus one that everybody should look at. And then people just started flowing in, apart from the e-commerce ones. So manufacturing companies then realized that apart from being a factory of the world, there's also a consumption which is local. And that's what has led to a huge amount of growth in the last couple of years. And the next 5 years are going to be the golden years of industrial real estate.
Yeah.
And the proof of the pudding is traditional real estate developers have started looking at this as an asset class, moving away from residential, commercial, and all.
So from there only, I would like to ask you, in essence of time, how do you see investors getting good returns into industrial asset class compared to the commercial projects?
So there is a wide range of investors which exist today for us as industrial real estate developers, right from standalone HNI investor to pooled investment, which is AIF, and then there is private equity. So all three are really active in the industrial real estate space. And as compared to traditional real estate, there is always the saying, higher the risk, higher the return. Industrial is considered as a riskier asset as compared to, if you look at all traditional real estate, the safest is residential. Then there is those ground floor shops, showrooms. Then there are those other retail classes. Then there is office. And the lowest or the riskiest proposition is industrial. And proportionately the returns are higher on the investment side as well.
Sure.
However, as the rates go up, the repo rates go up and lending rates go up, it becomes more and more difficult to manage those return expectations because there is a squeezing of profits and eventually the investor still looks at returns and that is when the continuous shift keeps happening between industrial to office and office to retail, and then they come back saying, these days again, industrial is more lucrative.
Yeah.
I will sell those offices and pump money here. So there is this continuous flow which keeps happening.
It's a chain, basically.
It's a chain.
Yeah.
So, but there is this entire gamut of investors which are active, right from HNI to pooled investments to private equity.
Sure. So before we go to the Q&A, the last question I would like to ask Anshul. For a developer and an occupier who are with us here, time is an essence. What do you feel that normal warehouse structure can be erected in 6 months of time? Is there a possibility that it can be reduced and how?
It's always a golden question for a concept car designer, right, Anupay? Always. So yeah, it's a. Can it be done in 6 months? Yes. Can it be done in less than 6 months? Yes, again. What do you need to do that? Need to do for the execution of the same. Certain different mindset and readiness to adopt different technology. Precast, of course, is the one. Nirav is probably a better person to answer that because he's practically done that. But even when we design warehouses in precast, and now not only the portal frame precast erection, but right from foundation to walls, pedestal, complete everything, and you will have it ready within 3.5 to 4 months. If it's not a grade A asset, there are places where we have also explored single portal frame erection with fabric as a roof. For a lot of agro-based products, like you said, last mile delivery, a lot of agro-based food parks who don't require, grade A asset essentially. So over there, it's not column, beam, rafter, sheeting. It's a regular A-frame portal which you design. They are erected, prefabricated, and you use a fabric over it, and you're sorted. It will yield results in 2.5 months.
Sure.
But yes, I hope more and more developers, as and now he keeps setting up examples, and people keep on, looking at that aspect, that how it benefits you with respect to time-benefit ratio as well as less dependency on labor or reduction labor incentive process. I'm sure it will increase.
Sure.
Just to add to that, there is this mindset that needs to change. We have to move from constructing buildings to assembling buildings. So everything is made in a factory, it comes to site, and you just assemble the building together.
Yes.
That mindset, which is more industrial in nature and not construction in nature,
as like
that
we,
needs to come.
as like we do into the offices, the modular furniture which comes in.
Correct. So like you do in everything just is made in a factory, you assemble it and sign.
Yeah, and one more thing is, the most important part out of this conclusion is that the future or the logistic part or the industrial part will now be retained by the whole part or by the investors or by funds who will be retaining. It's like a mall. It will be like a mall.
Sure.
If a private developer earlier, or it's happening nowadays, building 1 or 2 buildings, future is not there.
Sure.
Because whoever the occupant or the tenant, they need a longer relation. They want them to repeat somewhere else also. They want to retain their assets for a longer period and to take a longer maintenance. I think so. This is changing, and this is a new requirement or essential requirement of the occupant. I think so. If I'm wrong, please.
Sure.
Yeah. So
What you're saying is right.
yeah. So I think so. This is changing very. Yeah. This is changing. So now this assets will be like holding a mall. Yeah.
Sure. I think we had a wonderful panel here. So the time can go probably over time, and the questions must probably can be as long as possible, because the veterans here can answer anything and everything which comes to their heads. So just a quick one. Anybody, any from the audience, if any questions you have, you can raise.
Yes, sir. Okay. Just a quick, just got to know that we're running a little late, so we can only accommodate one question. But of course, the stalwarts are here, and you can connect offline.
Great presentation. I'm an NRI for 40 years in USA and Arizona. I'm a broker for raw land. And when we look for a land for investors, basically we look for which is industrial potential, commercial potential, but that brings unlimited funds. So just now I'm launching a little bit real estate for NRIs in India. How's Dollar? What do you all think about Dollar?
So his question is, what are your views on Dolera? So I think everybody would be keen here, and we shortly go on overtime.
So I have a very different view on Dolera than what is projected. It's a long story, and it's not going to happen for another 10 years, maybe. And it's been going around for at least 10 years, and it's still going to go around for another 10 years before there is anything that is going to happen on the ground. So I think there is better opportunity for money than Dolera. I would put it that way.
Sure. So we hereby conclude this panel, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, all the panelists.
Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for this wonderful panel. Thank you so much. I request all of you to kindly come over here and pose for a group photograph. Thank you so much.